Alrighty. Hey everyone, welcome back to The Soft Spoken Scientist. Today we're going to use the quadratic formula to solve equations that cannot be factored. Some of these will have, nice real solutions. Some will have irrational square roots, and a few will have imaginary answers with the letter I. We're going to take it slow and calm, and I'll show you exactly how to do it. Alright? So the quadratic formula works for any quadratic equation written as this. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, okay? And the formula to solve those equations is the ones with the stars, okay? That's x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square roots of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a, okay? I know this looks freaky. I'm going to make it make a lot of sense very soon, okay? So let's do a practice problem to get the thing going. So we have 3x squared plus 4x minus 2 equals 0. And let me write the formula. And just say it out loud to yourself 1,000 times until it's like really drilled in your head. But for now, we're going to write it out because we don't know it. Okay. So let's say you're too scared of the quadratic formula. And you're like, I'll just factor it, right? In my last video, I told you guys you would take c and multiply it by the coefficient in front of the number in front of the variable. So do negative 2 times 3, right, which is negative 6, and what adds to 4. So there's really nothing in the world that multiplies to 6 but adds to 4. You got 6 times 1, you got 2 times 3, but none of that would ever add or multiply to what we need it to be. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 plus 3 is 4. 6 plus 1 is like 7, and it just wouldn't work, right? So we have to use the quadratic formula. So what I want you guys to know is that the number that is with x squared is known as a. The number with the letter that's not raised to the second power is known as b. And the number by itself with no variable at all, no letter, c. So let's plug it in. X is equal to negative 4 plus or minus the square root of b squared. So 4 squared. I just put in parentheses because I just want to make that crystal clear. And that's in the, that's what we have to do. Minus 4. That 4 came from there, okay? Times a. What's a, you guys? 3. What's c, you guys? Negative 2. Boop. All over 2 times 3. Okay, take a minute, process that. So that looks really intimidating for a lot of people. So we're going to rewrite what we know. X is equal to negative 4 plus or minus the square root of, what's 4 squared? That's a fancy way of saying what's 4 times 4? That's 16. And then we have negative 4 times 3. What's that, you guys? Negative 12. You have negative 2. What's negative 12 times negative 2? Well, I told you guys in my last video, on my other video, negative times a negative is a positive. And then 12 times 2 is 24. So I got 16 plus 24, all divided by 2 times 3, which is 6. So we're going to say x is equal to negative 4 plus or minus the square root of, what's 24 plus 16? Let's see. We got 6 plus 4, which is 10. Put the 1 on top, which is 40. Okay. So we got the square root of 40 all over 6. Okay. Now, to take the square root of 40, I'm going to say to myself, what multiplies to, what times what gives me 40? I know that would be 20 and 2. Okay, that's one way of doing it. And then I'm going to say, okay, what makes up 20? I know that would be 10 and 2 or 5 and 4. And then I'm going to say to myself, okay, what multiplies to 10? Because 10 can be broken down more. I know 5 times 2 is the only thing that can really get us into 10 without it being a repeat of itself. And then look, I have 2. I have 2 twice, and they're best friends, and they're going to go outside together, okay? So it'd be x is equal to negative 4 plus or minus 2. Okay, they're buddies. When you have two of the same numbers, okay, they're gonna be on the outside of the square root. All with the square root, and I have, I'll use pink, y'all. 5 and then a 2. What's 5 times 2? 10. All over 6. Now, this is not complete because I'm looking around, not in the inside of the square root. That does not need to get touched. The numbers get simplified on the outside of the square root. And I notice, okay, 6 can go into 2. 2 can get into 2. Negative 4 can be divided by 2. X is equal to negative 2, because negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2, plus or minus 1 over the 1, and then with the square root of 10, all over 3. Okay, so this is one way to simplify it, and the other one you could just say x is equal to negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 10 all over 3. And that is your answer, y'all. That's how you do that. Okay, let's move on to this one, okay? What's our A? The one with the x squared. What's our B? The one with the x. What's the C? The one without any variable letter with it, okay, is equal to 0. I'm going to say x is equal to negative 3, which is negative b, plus or minus the square root of b squared, so 9. But we're going to write it as 3 squared because your teacher might be really serious about that. B squared minus 4 times A, which is 1, because there's an invisible 1, like I always tell you guys, times C, which is 12, it's right there, divided by 2 times 1, okay? So let's break it down. So we got x is equal to negative 3 plus or minus that square root of, what's 3 squared? Well, that's a fancy way of saying what's 3 times 3, which is 9. Minus, what's negative 4 times 1? Negative 4. What's negative 4 times 12? Negative 36. The negative times a positive, you guys, gets you a negative number. So it'd be 9 minus 39. 9, and then you have minus 48 is what I meant to say. I'm sorry. So you have 9 minus 48, which would be negative 39. Okay, so you have this. You have negative 39 all over 2. Okay, so careful. I thought 12 times negative 4 was negative 36. It's negative 48. Okay, so you might be thinking, well, you're not supposed to have a negative number inside a square root. And guess what? You'd be correct in that. So this is creepy, but it may work. Whenever you have a negative sign, you're so negative, you gotta pop your eyes out and be thankful for what you have, is how I think of it. It's so simple. The negative is gonna go out and become an I. Okay? You pop your eyes out. So it would be x is equal to negative 3 plus or minus I, and then you have the square root of 39 all over 2. Okay? Now, the only thing that I can think about is 13 times 3 is equal to 39, or 39 times 1, but you can't do it of itself. So I can't really, there's no partner for 3 or for 13 to like go outside with. So the answer is x is equal to negative 3 plus or minus I with the square root of 39 all over 2. Okay. Last but not least, we have this problem, okay? So what's our A? A is equal to 2. B is equal to negative 7. Bring the sign with it. Whatever, if it was a positive sign, if it was a negative sign, it comes with it. C is equal to 1, okay? So I'm going to write down x is equal to negative 7, right? But I'm not going to just say 7, even though I just said that. I was trying to explain more. It's going to be x is equal to negative b, negative 7. Because b is negative 7. This represents b, and then that negative sign was in the formula. Plus or minus the square root of b squared, so negative 7 squared, minus 4 times 2a times c of 1 all over 2 times a, which is 4. Okay, there you go. So what's negative times negative 7? Well, remember there's an invisible 1. So it'd be a negative times a negative, I told you guys, was a positive. So it'd be positive 7 plus or minus the square root of negative 7 squared, which is negative 7 times itself again. What's negative 7 times negative 7? 49. 49 minus, what's negative 4 times 2? Negative 8. What's negative 8 times 1? Negative 8. There you go. All over, what's 2 times 2? 4. So we have x is equal to 7 plus or minus the square root of 41, because 49 minus 8 is 41. It's still in the square root, all over 4. And guess what? This is the most simplified it can go. All right? All right. Great job today. You solved quadratic equations that couldn't be factored, and you learned the difference between real solutions, irrational solutions, and imaginary solutions solving I. If this video helped you, please like and subscribe so I can keep making calm, clear math lessons for you. And remember, STEM is for everybody, especially you.